I had been working in a bakery after I graduated from college, and I loved the work a lot, but was kind of wanted it to be a little bit more simple. It's very stressful to work in bakeries and wake up at 3 in the morning and all of that. Was thinking about starting a bread project. I was calling it a project at the time, not even a business. And I wanted to just simply make bread, once a week and deliver it to people at their homes.
I just had finished school and I just had no idea what I wanted to do. So for a year I've been working on farms in the States, and then I'd been in Europe working on farms in England, one of which was a sourdough wood-fired bakery that I spent 5 weeks on right before I came home. But then when I was at the bakery, I was like, this totally works. I want to bake bread, I love this. And so I had emailed my sister at home and I was like, when I get home, I think I want to make sourdough bread and then deliver it by bike or something. And she was like, oh, too late, because someone's already doing that in Jacksonville. So she sent me the article and I read it and I was like, and they're my age, and they're doing this. So that was how I emailed her, and I was like, yeah.
Constantly throughout this process, there have been times of challenge, and then all of a sudden from out of left field, a new opportunity comes, and Meredith was totally that for me. And we met, and it was just an instant connection. So she brought a lot of new energy into it that I wouldn't say I was lacking, but I just, I didn't really know where it was going to be going, so I wasn't too stuck on it continuing, I guess, at that time.
I love the full cycle of it. I love that it's not an industrial process. We're doing things like traditions that are something we would have done before the Industrial Revolution, the way people originally were eating bread in Western Europe with sourdough starter, which is doesn't appeal to me, and I imagine Sarah would say the same thing. It doesn't appeal to us to do bread another way.
It's just really fascinating and interesting to create such a beautiful product out of the most simple ingredients. So for me, that was really intriguing because my life kind of now and at the time when I started this was about trying to make meaningful things out of simple ingredients. So it just made sense in a lot of ways.
Beautifully scored hearth-baked bread is so beautiful. And so it's awesome to constantly be working towards making a beautiful loaf. And even when we do a bake that's gorgeous, then we have an idea for how to do it different next. And working for ourselves, we get to constantly determine how we want it to look and how we want to change it. So even though it feels like we're doing the same process all the time, there are always a million ways to mess it up or make it better.
There's nothing more satisfying than when the bread comes out of the oven and it's just the most beautiful sculpture I've ever seen. And people often say it's it's almost too pretty to eat, but not quite.
A huge amount of people I've become friends with since moving back to Jacksonville and not having lived here since I was 18. I've gotten these friends because I bake bread and because I've found a place in the community, and we joke that people call us the bread girls, but it's it gives us a definition, and then they can identify what we create and the fact that we're involved and we're making something we want them to enjoy. And it's great to have people around us who appreciate what we do and are doing things along the same line, and we all feel like we're sort of moving forward together, and there is a space for us to have a local food community,
Bread feels like a way of kind of making our own place in the community and being incredibly involved with people who are doing other things. Jacksonville is a wonderful place to be involved in a community which is small but growing, and I'm always meeting new people at markets that we go to who are full of questions and kind of didn't even really realize that there's a community of people who are creating local foods and products already in Jacksonville. So yeah, it just feels incredibly invigorating to be a part of that growing movement.